My guest is Carol Kando-Pineda. She is with the FTC. Did I say it right, Al? Did I get it right that time? Pineda. And I said Pineda. Jeepers, Carol. I'm sorry. You know, it's just it's age. It's just a condition of age, Carol. That's all.
It's no problem. We still love you, Paul.
Thank you very much. What we really don't love, are those who would rip us off by stealing our identity. And it really is a big problem. I mean, there's no question about it. It happens hundreds of thousands of times all across the country. But if I do suspect identity theft, in whatever form it might be, later missing bills, items on my credit report that I don't think belong to me, unexplained calls from debt collectors, what's the first thing I should do, Carol?
Okay, the first thing is you want to contact the businesses for those accounts that you think were affected, right? So if it's a credit card issue, you want to contact that credit card company. You want to close the accounts or freeze them and then reset your password and your PINs. Then you want to put a fraud alert on your credit report. So to do that, you go to the 3 credit reporting companies, and if you go on to our website, identitytheft.gov, it'll give you all the information for that step, the names of the companies, their telephone numbers, their websites. All you have to do is call one. The one you call is obligated to call the other 2, so you'll get a fraud alert put on all 3 of your big 3 credit reports. And then you want to order copies of them so that you can check to see what else might be on there that you missed or that you don't know about that's a cause of that identity theft. Mm-hmm. And then you want to report the identity theft to FTC at identitytheft.gov. The reason that's important is that your report, when you print it out, becomes your identity theft affidavit. And without that affidavit, there are certain rights as an identity theft victim that you can't exercise. So once you have that paper in your hand, it makes it much easier to recover and to start to get things going back in your favor again.
Well, yeah, but I'm sorry, Mrs. Pineda. That sounds like an awfully lot of stuff to do. I mean, come on, I've got to do all of that. I mean, can I just call somebody and say, I think I've been ripped off?
Well, by contacting the businesses, that's probably the closest as you're going to get to that easy a step. Recovery from identity theft does take a little bit of time, and it takes some work. That's why identitytheft.gov has tried to put as many helpful tools as possible in one place. So if you file the complaint and you get that affidavit, then you can go back to that credit reporting company. If they need proof that you were the victim, you've got the proof that you're the victim. If you bring it to the credit reporting company, you can get charges permanently removed from your credit report. Sometimes you get them removed, and without the proof that you're the victim, they just keep coming back and coming back. So you want to be able to go back to them and prove that it's taken off. There's really no easy way, but if you go to identitytheft.gov, they'll set up for you a recovery plan so that you get a checklist with the specific steps that you need to take. Mm-hmm. And if you create the account, you can go back in and check them off as you do them. Okay,
it just makes perfect sense, folks. Look, we're talking about you protecting your identity. We're talking about you protecting the money in your accounts. We're talking about protecting your email and all the other things that you may use electronically or otherwise. And if you don't make enough noise about it and go through the process, it's likely to happen to you again. And that's an important point. Once I've done this, can I get ripped off again?
Sure. And that's why it's important to create that paper trail to save copies of everything that you've got in your credit reports. If you find a problem in your credit report, you want to mark it up, make a copy, send it back to the credit reporting company with a letter explaining what the problem is. At identitytheft.gov, you can get a personalized letter. You can get samples, and it'll automatically populate with your information. You print it out, put it together with your credit report, send it out. Keep copies of everything, because a year from now it might come back again, and you want to be able to show that you're the victim.
And how widespread is this, Carol? Let's talk about that for my people. Will never. I've never been ripped off. I'm not sure they know or not, but it is. This is widespread, isn't it?
It is pretty widespread. Every year, FTC gets about 500,000 complaints about identity theft in our complaint system. The Department of Justice estimates the number of identity theft victims to be about 17 million people in the United States.
17 million people are in. Well, it could happen to them, and so and you could be one of the 17 million out there.